Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for You. I have been on a tote bag making jag. I usually make quilts, but I've made about 5-6 different tote bags in the last little while. We're on this lockdown still. We have another week or so. We're still in the red zone. It just goes on and on and on. So instead of making, I did one larger project that I'm going to be coming to in the next few videos, but I didn't video that. My diamond quilt. This is a very simple quilt, but I've been making these tote bags, and I'd shown you the last video. I had done my blue tote bag with a panel, and this one I wanted to share with you how I've just finished my little bag here that I was using a carousel horse panel. Now this bag, this tote bag, is taller than it is wide, and the reason I did that is I just changed it up a little bit. I wanted it to be more of a diaper bag type of a thing. The tutorial that is to follow is I'm showing how to put in this zipper. My last video or 2 videos ago of my blue tote bag was how I did my other type of zipper, but this tote bag is showing how I'm doing this zipper with the flappy end like that. And the reason I'm showing you this is I put in quite a few pockets in this tutorial to come. The tutorial is basically on how I did my zipper, but I've showed you how I put my pockets and my lining in the bag to finish the bag up. Now, looking at this, I'm so pleased the way my zipper turned out. I could have made the placard or the casing or whatever it's called shorter. That was the whole purpose of it. In the beginning of my tutorial, I show you my handbag, and it had an opening. Now this is a flappy end, and there's an opening here and an opening there. I could have made it even a bit smaller. Mind you, it's awesome. It's almost like an enclosed zipper, like my blue bag, but it's not. It's done a completely different way, and I must say, much easier, the way to do it this way. So now I've done on my 2 tote bags, I've done 2 ways to do a zip. So that's my bag, that's my tutorial. I used I have to put the bottom in it yet. I just finished my tutorial. I'm going to put the bottom, the stiffener in it. I did self handles, self straps. I just sort of did I just put the lining on the strap. Again, I don't show you how to do that, but my other bag tutorial shows how I constructed my bag. It's exactly the same way. I just made this taller. I just made it longer. I added a little bit at the bottom. So this measures, if you wanted to cut, this is about, you cut 17 wide by about 21 deep, and you get a tote bag that size. And then the straps. Again, I made the straps slightly longer, so this is a taller bag. So this tutorial is basically how I did my zipper, my sort of flappy zipper on the outside with the sort of the tab on the end. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Hope you enjoy my little tote bag. I hope you've enjoyed these tutorials on my tote bags. I will be getting back into making some quilts, but as you know, as I said, I didn't want to really get stuck into a huge project, but I'm getting back into it a little bit more, hopefully as things ease up and get back to some kind of normal. But for now, tote bags galore here. I got tote bags coming out of my wazoo. And people are asking me if I'm going to sell them. I'm not quite sure yet. I believe I addressed it on my last video about my Etsy shop, selling things. I got to put my thinking cap on to sell stuff and pack stuff up, go to the post office, get it from Jen's house, whatever. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this tutorial on my recessed top zipper of my tote bag. All right, again, folks, thanks a lot for all your support. I appreciate it. All right, see ya. Bye. little tote bag, my Carousel Panel tote bag. And I'm not going to be doing a full-on blown-on tutorial. I'm just showing you a few steps that I've done, because what I want to concentrate on is the zipper closing. This is just going to be a sort of a one-off tutorial on how I do that zipper that has the flappy end, the long zipper with the zipper tabs. My other video on my blue tote bag was my enclosed zipper. So this is how far I've gotten with my tote bag. Now, you might notice a difference from when I had done it before. What I had done is I had cut a 17-inch square of all my two lining and my two panels, just like I did my blue tote bag. But that, let me just show you. That tote bag ended up smaller, okay? This is that tote bag that I just made, and I cut this exactly. But as I was, and there's my enclosed zip. I'm not doing that on this one with my purchased handles. And then my feet, I wrapped the panel. But as I was making this, I really wanted this to be more of a diaper bag. But instead of a wide diaper bag, I'm making it a deep diaper bag. But I'm putting in pockets, which I'll show you in a minute. So what I did with this is my fabric had a border print. As you can see, it had a border print. Here's the border print along the sides of the actual panel. So what I did is I added about a 4.5 inch long wide strip to the bottom of my tote bag and made it longer, and then I cut out my squares like this. I did it also. This is how I have yet to put my lining together side by side, side seams and bottom seam, but this is exactly how I did my tote bag here. Now, oops, it's got caught. So now what I've done is, you can see this is a much wider bottom than my blue bag, because I have cut out from my tote and my lining, I cut out a 3-inch square. And again, when you're cutting out your squares to box the bottom of your bags, you must remember that whatever you cut out, your square, your bottom is going to be twice that size. So if you cut 2.5 inches, your opening on your bottom is going to be 5 inches. If you cut 3 inches, your boxed bottom is going to be 6 inches. So the wider you want your bag, maybe you want a really nice big beach bag, nice and wide, nice and deep for all your towels, you could cut out perhaps a 5-inch square, and you'd have a 10-inch boxed bottom. So it'd almost be like a box. But so what's happened here is that border print has made my bottom really sweet. I love that. And I've done my side seams there with a little bit of interest on the side. But now, and I wanted to show you, again, I'm not doing a tutorial on, but I wanted to show you, there's all sorts of ways to do handles or straps on your bag. And this was just one that I just did real quick. I took my border print here, and then I just sort of turned it in. There's the border print on the back side, and then I just added a strip of my lining fabric. Here's my lining fabric, just down the side. Just down each side. I just sort of stitched it and stitched it, so they're nice and stiff. But as you can see, look how I attach them. I couldn't be bothered doing loops and D-rings and all that. So down here, I'm still going to be working on the top of my lining. But right there, very simple way to attach straps is I just marked where I wanted my straps. These are a bit wider apart because they're longer. I just tucked in about 1/2 inch, and then I just stitched it there. When I'm done my bag, I'll probably come up with, when the lining is in and when the zipper's in, I'll see where I might want to just go back just a little up here, secure it a little bit up here with maybe like an X, make it a decorative feature. But right now my straps are on. Simple, simple, simple. A little bit longer. My bag is taller than it is wide, but what I'm doing is I'm working on my lining, and as you can see, I've added this bit because I had just cut a 17-inch square. I added my bit, and I've already cut out my corners ready to box. I will be sewing my linings together with 1/2 inch around, all the way around. But what I've done for my pocket is, remember I said I wanted pockets all the way around my bag. I wanted to have pockets. So my thought process is, for down in the bottom, you have your extra blanket or your receiving blankets or your extra set of clothing down there. But you want pretty much to hand as you go in. You want your bottles, you want your diapers, you want your wipes, you want your pacifiers. Maybe you even want just to stick your phone in there. But the regular way I do pockets is just a square that you stitch on. The way I've done this is I've taken a long strip of fabric. I've just put the lining on the back, turned it over with my lovely little print. This is going to be on the inside, but I think you might as well make it pretty. What I've done is I've just attached it on each side. Let me just put that over there. A little bit longer, 6-7 inches, however you want your pockets. I've attached it on each side of my lining, as you can see here, and then I've just pleated it. You could do 2 big pockets. You could do 4 smaller pockets if you want 1, 2, 3, 4 for bottles. We just take a bottle. But the pleats, as you can see, make it come up, and it makes it a nice. I mean, like, let me see. Like, here's a water bottle. I can stick a water bottle in there, and it's. I mean, it pulls, but you're not. It's a regular pocket. You couldn't get a water bottle in there, so you can get baby bottles in there. You can get probably 2 or 3 diapers in there. So I like that. So what I've done is, again, I've just pleated it. Mine is done 3. I just eyeballed it. That one's a little bit bigger. That's fine. I pleated it that way on the like to the inside, and then I've pinned it where my pleats were. I pinned it real good. I've secured it on the sides, and then I sewed the bottom. After I sewed the sides, I sewed the bottom. I've reinforced it, of course, on the pleats, because you're going to have some stress on those pleats, on that pocket. And then what I've done, I've ironed it. I had ironed it really nice, so the pleats. And then what I've done is I sewed from here up to there to create the pocket. It's tucked right in that pleat. Do you see that? So there are 3 pockets. That pocket there, that pocket there, and that pocket there. They're stitched down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my next bit of pocket on my lining. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to do 3 more pockets on this bit of lining. Like, I made that about 7 or 8 inches longer, and then but it's all depending on you. You can have a shallower pocket. Now I'm going to be putting my zipper, I think it's up here. So I wanted my pockets somewhere more towards the sort of the a little bit less than the up here. I wanted them just slightly down to the bottom, so you can reach in nicely. They're not obstructing with the zipper there. That's what I'm saying. But they're not all the way down here at the bottom. And as I said, down here you could have your extra clothes, extra set of clothes, blanket, receiving blankets. So this bag, 17 inches by, what would it be, 20, I don't know, what is this, 17 by, say, 21, 17 by 21 if you cut. That's how big this bag will end up. And so now that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to finish my lining. I'm going to finish my pockets. And then I'm going to work on my zipper. And I probably will do it maybe, sort of with this border print. I'm not quite sure. But that's the whole point of this tutorial, to show how I install that zipper. I haven't done it yet, so I got to figure it out. So now I'm just going to do my pockets. So I have 6 pockets all the way around my lovely little diaper bag. Okay, so I have finished doing put this over here. We're going to be working on our zipper, but I finished making my pockets on my lining, and then I have my 2 pieces of lining here, and as you can see, I have 6 pockets which will go around my tote bag. Now, what we're working on now, I've not done this before, but I think I figured it out. We're going to be attaching a zipper with an opening at the each side and a flappy bit of the zipper at the end, so it opens up the whole way of my tote bag. My tote bag opens up the whole way because my tote bag's only 17 inches, not real big at the top, so we want the whole zip to open up right to the very end. So what I'm going to do, I have, and this is 17 inches, I have an 18-inch zipper here. Okay, I have an 18-inch, I'm going to put this aside for a minute. I have an 18-inch zip. Yeah, this is an 18-inch polyester zipper. What I've done is, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be enclosing this zipper in between two pieces of turned fabric, okay? This is going to have a folded edge, and this is going to have a turned over edge. Now, I've already done this, but I'm going to show you step by step what I did. Is I cut two pieces of fabric here. I cut them, let me just see here. I got two pieces of fabric about 16 inches long by about 5 inches wide, okay? 16 by 5. I've interfaced one side of the zipper top, okay? And then what I've done is I've turned over, and this is I've done a border print. Mine's a border print. It doesn't quite match up. One's upside down, but that's okay. I get the look of my little border print. You're just going to be doing a solid fabric. So what you want to do is, when you have this piece done, you're going to fold it in half, and you're going to fold it in half and crease it. It's nice and stiff, but not too stiff. I've not stiffened both sides. I've just stiffened one side, okay? Then that side is on the top there. So what I've done is I've turned over, as you can see, each edge, a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. Each long edge, I turned over 1/4 of an inch. And I've pressed that so well that I'm making sure that those edges are exactly together. I'm going to make sure when I pin and sew that this is exactly together, okay? They're exactly together. They've been ironed exactly the same. Then what I've done is on my zipper end over here, my zipper end right there, I've turned this in about 1/4 of an inch. And as you can see, sort of made a mess of that one, but it's working okay. I sort of mitered the corners. Just so you have a nice finished edge here. Okay, and then here I did it a little bit more. It's about an inch. I turn that in there. So what we have here on both pieces are 4 finished edges of fabric, little casing here. Okay, the ends are finished, and this is finished. Now, what we're wanting to do is the zipper is going to sort of look like that on the top of the bag, inside the bag, right? But what we have to do now, or the principle is, in this little cased opening here, we're going to insert our zipper between this folded area here, okay? And I'm going to just turn this zipper to the inside like that, just like that, so the zipper metal part is right at the top here. I want that right at the top. I don't necessarily want that hanging off. So I'm just going to tuck that in there. I probably could cut it off, but I'm just going to tuck it in. I'm going to pin that really well, and as you can see, my zipper tab, my zipper metal bit is right at the top, because that's where I want my zipper to open to, right at the top of this opening here. You see that? Of our little cased opening. Now, with working on one side, what we're going to do is we're going to stitch all 3. We're going to sandwich our zipper in between our folded edges. We're going to pin that really well. You're going to go very slowly to make sure that your zipper is being caught on the back side. All right? Just like that. You're going to stitch it right there. And then you're going to make sure that as you stitch, your zipper is being caught on the front and on the back, completely enclosed. But before we do that, obviously you're saying, well, this zipper here is longer than our casing, right? So we are going to have to, we'll just put this aside for a moment. We're going to have to make a zipper flappy end. I'm not going to cut my zipper. What I have done is I was looking at all sorts of things that you can fold it, it's a little bit fiddly. So what I've done is I've just sort of eyeballed a piece, however wide that is. This is about 2 inches wide. And I put an interfacing on just one side. I've done it with of the lining fabric. I've just put interfacing on one side. And what I'm going to do is we're going to be making a little flappy little enclosed pretty little tab for our zipper, right? For a zipper to go, like there. All right. But so there's our little tab for the zipper to flop around in on the one end. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over. I'm going to iron this with these edges up like that. I'm going to iron that, and then I'm going to stitch. I'm going to stitch right just a little bit bigger than my zipper to allow for the turning of the fabrics. I'm going to stitch right along there, as you can see. I'm going to stitch right there, up there, just 2 stitches, that's just 2 seams, there and there. I'm going to turn it inside out, clipping this really well, and hopefully then we're going to have like a sleeve to put on the end of this zipper tab. So I'm going to go over, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to measure that, make sure it's bigger than the zip because we have to allow for the turning. I'm just going to stitch it there and over there, and hopefully we'll have a nice finished little sleeve, and then we can just stitch it across. But I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So what I have done is I have sewn, oh my phone, it's so funny. I've actually taken my zipper over, and I've sort of just laid it on my machine bed, so I know that when I go to turn this, there's a stitching there and a stitching there after I turned these both edges up right there. So I think hopefully now when I trim this quite small, trim the little corner there so I don't have a lot of bulk, hopefully when I turn it inside out, which I will show you in a second how I do that. So I've turned my little sleeve here, my little zipper sleeve here, onto the right side, and I've pressed it. And what I want to do is, I find that making like a sleeve easier than turning the sides and trying to keep all those edges. What I'm going to do is I want to keep this zipper as long as possible. I want to keep it as long as possible, since that's going to go up, since this bit's going to go up to the top. I want that to hang over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, I'm going to leave that metal tab so the zipper has an end, and I'm just going to stitch. I'm going to stitch right next to, I'm going to put this nicely, even it. It's a little bit bigger, but I quite like that. I'm just going to stitch right along there. I'm going to do that twice so I have a nice solid zipper tab, as you can see, because I have the interfacing in it, and then my zipper can go right to the metal tab, and then this is just decorative. So I'm going to stitch that now, and then we're going to stitch our zipper into our little casings here. So I'm at my machine, and I am enclosing my zipper in my folded casing here. My casing has been folded about a 1/4 inch, a little bit more than a 1/4 inch. I'm doing it that way because my design, but you could, if you have just plain fabric, you 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever you're comfortable with. But again, this was about a 5 inch wide piece of fabric that I folded in half to make my little top casing here. Put my interfacing on just one side, that's the top side where the zipper is, and now I'm sandwiching my zipper in between my my 2 pieces of fabric. This is where you have to be pretty exact, that when you fold that in half and press it, that these edges are exactly together, because as you lay your zipper in there, teeth up, we are doing teeth up. You want to make sure that as you stitch, you're stitching the back side of your zipper, which I've sewn along that much, and I'm assured that I have caught my zipper on the back. What I did is I started up at the top here. I started here. Let me just cut these little threads apart. Having tucked that top bit in best I could, and I also tucked the zipper top in. I'll show you on the other side. I just I didn't want to cut it because it could fray, so I just sort of tucked it in and tucked it. I'm sure there's another way to do it, but this is how I do it. I just sort of tuck that in, and then I'm going to top stitch that. I'm going to just tuck that in, and then I'm going to just top stitch that when I'm done, that closed. So that's a closed a closed casing there. So, and I don't have a zipper foot on. I don't find the necessity. What I'm doing is I'm making sure that my zipper teeth are, I'm going to be seeing my zipper teeth. I'm not going to, it's not like concealing the zipper. I'm seeing my zipper teeth. So I'm just putting the zipper teeth along the side of my folded edge on both bottom and top here. And I'm going in about a little bit more than an eighth, a little bit less than a quarter of an inch on this, on these casings here. Now I'm coming to the end, and I will go off. Oh, there's my zipper thing. There's my little zipper tab. I'm real pleased about that. So as I saw on this side, I put that in quite a lot. I put that in this end quite a lot. So I'm sure I'll catch that. I'll go over here. I'll put my needle down, and then that might, yeah, I think I caught it. And then I'm going to just go off this side here because I want a finished edge here. Just a few back stitches there. Now, when we go to attach this in our lining, I think we're going to be sewing on this end. We're going to be sewing this folded edge. There's the back side. How lovely and neat is that? Very nice. So we're going to be sewing this onto our lining, but I'll come to that. Now I'm just going to do the other side. Maybe a bit fiddly because it's the other side. But as you can see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that these edges, because this is what you see when you're looking down into your bag, that this top edge is the exact size of the other one, and our zipper teeth are in the exact same place. So I'm going to fiddle about with this like that, like that, and then I've not even pinned this or like clipped it because it's a little bit awkward, but I'll start it. You must excuse my hands in the way. I'll open this up and I'll sandwich that right in there. My presser foot down. Oh, presser foot down. And again, you have to make sure that your edges, your folded edges here are together, have been put together. So then when you sandwich your zipper, you insert your zipper in there, you know that it's catching on the front as well as the back. Now, needle down. My edges match up here. Yeah, my bottom edges back. So now I have my needle down. I'm putting my zipper foot up, and I'm going to close this zipper. My presser foot. And again, it just sort of lays right where it should. You've done all the prep work to keep your edges nice and together on the back side. As you can see, my edges are nice and together. I've caught the back. I'm laying that right down. My bottom edge matches nicely. My zipper is centered very nice. Right? My zipper is centered real nice in there. I can see my teeth. Just do it like that. Come out, and then I'm just going to, and then I'll just back stitch it a little bit. Oh no, it didn't come out. I thought my thread came out. Oh yeah, it sort of skipped a stitch. Anyway, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. Maybe it did. Yeah, it just skipped a stitch there. So what I'm going to do, that was a little bit thick. So what I'm going to go back over there, and I'm just going to sew that again. It was a little bit thick. My machine sort of skipped a stitch. And then I'm going to come back on the top here, and I'm going to stitch. I'm going to stitch this and this opening here. Oh, it's a little, yeah, it's a little bit messed up. But I'll just mess around with that. Just tuck that in, sort of press that in again. It's a little bit messed up. But I'll stitch that alongside there, And yeah, so there is my lovely little, I'm going to go over there and iron it. There's my zipper. Oh, I like that. It's worked out really nice. It goes right to the top on that end. A little bit messed up there, but I'll fix that. And then it comes all the way and it opens. Now we're going to attach this into our lining. I like the fact that it goes right to the zipper piece of metal there. And then this is proud. So now I'm going to put it in my lining after I'd fixed the top here. So what I have done is I've finished sewing my zipper case together, but I wanted to show you, sometimes I get a bit confused and I do things more visually than trying to, and then I try to figure it out. I think I showed you on one of my last videos my handbag that I have. That's like a TJ Maxx handbag that I use. And this is the look that I'm going for, this opening here with the zipper, which I've just, as you can see, I just made this, all right? Oh, my machine was skipping stitches. You might have seen that actually. I had to thread it wrong. So this is my little placard case that we're making. So now what I've done is this was sewn with the seam inside the lining. You can't see that. You can't see that stitching there. It's on the inside, but the zipper's on the top, right? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my zipper. I'm sewing it so you see the stitching. I'm not going to sew it. This is a nice finished edge there, but again, visually, it might be a little bit backwards, and it was a little bit to me. When I'm trying to figure out something that I'm trying to make, I always think, well, what will the finished product look like? Because the zipper goes upside down, it goes sideways, da 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 da. But I'm thinking, well, what is going to be my finished product? Well, my finished product is going to be I'm going to be looking into my bag, right? I'm going to be looking, here's the outside of my bag. I'm going to be opening up my bag and seeing the lining, right? That's what, when these side seams are sewn, I'm going to be looking, I want to open up my bag and see the lining. So because I'm not sewing it I'm sewing it so you see the seam. I'm just sewing this placard case on there, okay? Now, because like my other handbag shows, you have to come down about 2 inches. That's a bit crooked. I have to fix that. I just did this. I just put it on there visually so I could see what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, I'm going to open up the zipper and I'm going to sew, tucking that end in, just tucking that in, very easy. I'm going to sew just like I did my bag. I'm going to sew half an inch down there. Now, I'm going to sew half an inch on the sides. Now, I'm going to just sew to box my corners, because I have to box my corners just like I did my bag. I'm only going to sew this about 1.5 inches, really reinforcing it, because I'm going to be opening up my bag through the bottom of my lining. We'll come to that. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this a little bit because it's a little bit crooked. I'm going to come down about 2 inches. I'm going to come down about 2 inches. I'll measure this. And when I open up and this is the top of my bag. So I'll have all of this opening. I'll have all of that, well, like that, showing. Just like my handbag. So I'll keep my zipper open, but there's the top of my bag. And then I'll construct, so I'm looking at it. So what I'll do is I'll go over to my machine, having measured this and everything and done it properly. I'm going to stitch a nice stitch. I'm going to make sure that this is exactly even on each side. I have the exact same width on each side, and I'm going to stitch a nice stitch that you'll see right on the top of there. Whoops, back stitching it, and then on the top of my other one. If that makes any sense, I want you to see exactly where I'm stitching on the lining, inside lining, but the fact that we are going to be able to see it. And as you can see, my sides and my edges are nice. Then I can construct the lining, box my corners. I'll come to that, leave a big opening, and then I'll insert my lining, and we'll be finishing the bag up. But right now I'm gonna make sure that's nice and straight, and then I'll measure it all up, and then I'm gonna put my lining, my zipper in. So what I've done is I have stitched my zipper casing here, whatever you call this, placard. There's my zipper, and again, when I go to open it up, I see the inside of my bag, right? So now what I'm going to do, and I won't bore you because I've done this before on all my other tote bags, I'm going to put the right sides, the pretty sides of my lining together, opening my zipper up actually. I'm going to put the right sides together, matching them up, and matching up my pockets. As you can see there's my pockets. I'm going to go over and I'm going to stitch this a little bit more than 1/2 inch. I have to stitch it the same as I did my bag, which was a little bit more than 1/2 inch, right down. I'm going to do that twice. I'm going to reinforce my pockets there. I'm going to do that on both sides. But then, as I was saying, I have to box my corners, and then to do that, we have to sew the bottom, right? We have to sew the bottom seam to box our corners. But I'm wanting to leaving an opening, so I'm going to stitch. As I do, I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch here, and then I'm just going to go down about an inch or so, and I'm going to go off so I can turn that, so that seam will turn right over, as you see me do before. I stitch this way, and then I go off. I stitch this way, and then I stitch this way, and I go off. So I leave a big, that's about an 8-inch opening. Then what I can do, that'll enable me though to box these corners. I'll box my corners, just like I did my thing, and then I will start to attach it to my bag, and I'll show you how I do that. So what I've done is I've sewn my side seams together of my lining, and again I'm checking to make sure, yes, so when there's my zipper, the zipper top, the zipper placket is right there when I'm looking down into my bag, and this stays flappy. That's so you can open the bag up to its very, very nth degree there. So you just sew the outside edges there onto your lining, and then what I've done is I've boxed my corners right there. I boxed my corners, and I was sure to leave an opening right here. Now, as you can see, I hadn't addressed this before. I left a large opening at the bottom of my lining. I used a fusible fleece on my bag lining. I didn't, because this is an afterthought, but I'm okay with the lining. I didn't put a fusible fleece on the bottom of this lining. My bag has the foam on it, the lining does, and then I will be putting a stiffener on the bottom of my bag. But there you go, there's my 5-inch boxed corners. And so now, again, visually, you always must remember, I'm going to open up my zipper, very important, even though we're grabbing it through the bottom there. You could grab it through the top, but I'm going to open it, I'm going to berth it through the bottom. So now what you're wanting to think, you're wanting to always think, okay, now what do? It's always pretty sides of the fabric together. The right side of the fabric goes to the right side of the fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of squish my bag in here. If you have a right and a left or a front and a back, you want to be aware of that. And then what I'm going to do is make sure my handles are tucked out of the way, are tucked into the bag itself, because what we're going to do now is we're going, just like a tote bag, a regular bag or a regular whatever, you're going to match the side seams here, and you have made sure that this is exactly the same size, because we've stitched our side seams exactly the same way. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to bore you, I'm just going to stitch that right along there, the top there, about a little bit more than 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to, then we can turn our bag the right side out, and then top stitch along. And then I'll see what my handles look like. You want to make sure that your zipper and all is open. You want to make sure your zipper is open, but your handles and everything. So I'm just going to go match my side seams, pin this along here. I'm going to catch a little bit of this fusible fleece in my seam there, just a little bit. It's not going to add a lot of bulk, but to secure it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So now I've sewn my lining in my bag into my lining, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to pull this out. I'm just going to grab it. This is a nice soft bag, so it comes out nicely through the bottom of my lining there. I've reinforced that lining stitch, so the opening, so it doesn't rip, because there's a lot of stress on that seam. Just try to push it as opposed to pull it when you're pulling something. So I'm going to finish that. I'm going to pull this out, and then I'll go from there. So I've pulled the lining into the inside of my bag, and as you can see, my zipper tab here comes out, and so it opens up the whole bag. The whole top of the bag gets open with this zipper configuration here. Oops. Yeah, there we go. And then that gets tucked right back down there. Now, what I'm going to do is this, as you can see, I have my my lining turned to the inside, and I have that sort of about a 1-inch reveal where my zipper placard is. So I'm going to top stitch along there, just about 1/4 of an inch, finish that top edge off there. It's nice and soft. I've used the foam, so it's nice and soft. There's no heavy interfacing in there. That'll just hold that end down. And I just wanted to show you all my lovely pockets in there. This is a tall bag. This is a deep bag, but I love the pockets because the pockets are right there, ready to be, accessed. And then all the way down in the bottom, like I said, blankets or extra clothes. Now, I'm going to top stitch this, then it'll be back. But remember what I said about my handles. I do think I've attached them here very nicely, but I do think at the top, I'm just going to attach them. I think I'm going to attach them right at the top there. Yeah, I'm going to just about 1/2 inch down, or 1/4 of an inch. I'm just going to attach them. I'm not going to do the X or anything, but they've been attached here, but I will go back and forth there. But the way I've attached them is they're really quite a nice feature. Yeah, they're quite a nice feature. But at the top, they'll still be out of the way. Well, maybe I won't actually. Or maybe I think what I'm going to do, and as I'm looking at this, I think I'm just going to go up about another 1/2 an inch. And I'm going to leave that sort of hanging so that I'm not going to attach my things at the top here. I'm going to attach them just about another 1/2 an inch right along there. Just so to bring them up a little bit so that they'll be like that. But yeah, then I'm going to not going to bore you. I'm going to finish the inside. I'm going to close up that hole in the bottom after I top stitch, and make the nice hard closing, the hard bottom for my bag. I didn't put on the feet. I completely forgot. But again, this is a nice soft bag. Maybe just to throw in the car with extra clothes or something, or real pretty, or to hang on the stroller, even to go to the beach. Again, not wide but tall, and I love that. And there's my lovely carousel. I think that's real pretty. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this little sort of tutorial about how I did my top zipper this way. Yeah, I'm really, really thrilled with that, with the end there. All right, folks, thanks again. See ya. Bye.